because as you come into this deeper relationship with breath, you are going to come into a deeper relationship with energy and energy management and energy, like playing with energy and feeling energy and deciding what energy you desire to create with. And as we build our capacity to hold it all, as we build our capacity to feel it all, to experience it all, we are going to see those bigger things come to life for us.
Women, this is a business podcast like no other. It is time to turn on your body, your life force, your eros, and your mission. It is time to tune up the volume of your voice and your message. Let this podcast be a permission slip and a portal into the next level of expansion in your business and the next upgrade in your personal brand and body of work. I will bring to you feminine leaders, way showers, and disruptors who are doing business differently. I hope you enjoy the episode.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for turning on and tuning in. I am here with my dear, dear soul sister, Carmen Ganne, breathwork practitioner, human connection specialist, alchemist, transformational guide. You are an absolutely fucking magical woman. And this woman has been so pivotal on my personal awakening journey. So I'm excited to just speak to that and really, Carmen, you were the first person to introduce breathwork to me, and I would love to share a little bit about that story and where I was in my journey in the world when breathwork came to me. And I really do mark it as such a pivotal time. Like when everybody asks me about, what like my transformational journey and like what were some of the big moments, it was discovering breathwork, and that was through you. And I really see that as the first real window I had into my body and into my descent journey. So, bit of backstory, bit of context. I think Rome was a baby. He was a baby. And I was just like in it as a mom, two kids, two young kids. I think it was in real estate at the time. And I also had um, like the very, very earliest version of like Presence Media, which was Clouds and Dirt. And so I was like entrepreneur, selling houses, new mom, just really busy. I don't think my marriage was like that stellar at that time either. And I really spontaneously was like, I need to get away. I need a retreat. And so I booked what I thought was a yoga retreat. And I took the ferry to the Sunshine Coast here in BC. And I got to this retreat, and it was a breathwork retreat. And you said something like, "Have you ever breathed before?" And I was like, "Oh God, what is this? Like, have I breathed before?" Of course I have. And then we descended on 3 days of conscious connected breath journeys. And it was the most profound experience that I had of like truly dropping in and feeling what it felt like in my body, in my internal landscape. And I just remember you were sitting up there, like holding the space and hosting the breath. And Jen Fields was also there. And I thought, oh, these women are the most wise, powerful women that I've met in real life, like outside of Instagram. And I would love to like call in more friendships like this. And sure enough, couple years later, you were looking to buy a house in Squamish and you called me and I helped you buy a house, and we've become like besties and soul sisters since then, and just really breathwork has been a huge point of connection, and I'm just so grateful for having you so close in my life. But yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit of backstory about how we came together and how our divine connection was so pivotal. And I would love to hear from you. How did you discover breath work, and what was your journey? And we'll talk more about the journey of descent, because this is really what I want to bring to this conversation to the woman listening, like the journey of moving from the outer, the mind, like into the depths of the body and the roots. But what was your journey of discovering breath and, you're coming into your body in descent?
Yeah. I love hearing, and every time I hear this story, it just makes me smile from the inside because I love that this brought us together, and I love the life that we've walked and created together since. And this is the power of the breath. This is the power of being human. And my own journey with breath work, I feel like came out of a necessity, out of a lifeline. The world was like, we are going to get you into this some way or another. I didn't even know that breath work was a thing. I didn't even know that, I don't know that I could have that people worked in this field in this way. And so it was very much a personal practice in the beginning. I stumbled upon it. I had worked for years with yoga and meditation. I've got a background in social work, and what I continuously came home to in my own life and with the people that I was working with was that we were missing a huge piece when we were staying in the realm of story, of talk, and of in the mind. There was something that was continuing to perpetuate itself. There was recurring patterns, and it was because we were missing the body. We weren't bringing the body along for the ride. And my own journey with my body, my own journey of landing in my body and feeling at home with being human has been colorful. It has been a journey to learn and to feel here in my life, here in my body. And so I really feel like all roads led me to the space to discover how deeply and truly the breath can bring me home to my own life, to presence in my own life. So my very first experience with conscious connected breath work, I was actually in Bali at the time. I was living there, and I was invited into an experience kind of much like you, like very green, being like, okay, like I've worked with yoga, I've worked with meditation, um, and this is different. And I walked out of that experience being like, holy fuck, like what just happened? What, how, why? Like I want more, but I'm a little bit afraid of getting more. And this is kind of how it started to spark something in me. So it became a deeply personal practice. I found such connection in my own sense of being and my own I saw so many ripples and felt so many ripples in my physical body, in my mental health that I was deeply craving at the time. It was in a season of life where I was throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something would stick. And everything came home to the breath. And so I had known this for years. I had worked with the breath, pranayama, relaxation techniques, all of that. But this was just a different level, a different kind of relationship and dynamic with it. Um, and so I continued to show up. I continued to explore. I continued to sit in different styles with different teachers. And I still don't even think at that time I intended to share it as a practice. But it was changing my life so deeply. I was living that. People were recognizing that around me. And again, it was just like all roads led me to where I am now. And so I've been able to connect with amazing teachers, and I've had really beautiful opportunities to refine my own body of work and how it is that I desire to share this with the world, pulling all of the pieces together. So that's kind of how I ended here.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. And as you're speaking about your first experience of breath work and also, having a similar initial response, like, wow, like what the fuck was that? Right? Because even last night, I had dinner with a friend who is like not really on the spiritual path, and like she's never really done breath work. And I was just trying to, and she's going through some stuff in her life, and breath work would be an amazing tool for her to drop in. But it's really hard to explain to somebody the
Yeah.
benefits of, I mean, you can explain the benefits, but until you have that embodied visceral experience, and I know in the beginning when I used to, drop into your breath journeys and I was like, when I first found breath, I was hooked. I was like journeying like 90-minute journeys like every day. I got my husband involved. We were like doing breath journeys all of the time and having very big releases and like really big responses and like the hands and like the circuitry and like the buzzing of the body and the clearing, like it was really profound. And now my journeys are still profound in different ways, and it can look like feeling just such a deep sense of in my body groundedness, like clarity. It can feel like really creative, like just coming into this like God mind almost. It can feel emotional, like it can be so many different things. How do you describe it to people? Like, and I'd love to hear that from like, what does it feel like in your body? And I know it's different, but also like, what is happening on a physiological level when we do breath work? And I know you specifically work a lot with conscious connected breath. So can you explain like what is actually happening and how breath work is so healing to our bodies and to our nervous systems?
Yeah, and I feel like you've touched on something really important is that this is beyond words, and it is tricky to experience or to explain it. It is a little bit tricky to, it's like the invitation lands and somebody just knows, like there's a curiosity, or rather than like convincing somebody, because it is deep work, it is big work. And so I agree that it really has to be experienced to be truly appreciated. And because it is so personal, it has to, like, everybody's experience of it is going to be so unique. There may be shared threads, but it is going to be quite unique based on how we are in the moment and who we're showing up as. And so initially, my practice was really big, really grand. And at that time in that season of my life, I feel like that was what attracted me to it. I needed something really big for me to listen and to pay attention. I was, dare I say, in the season of seeking. And so those bigger experiences where it was like, oh, you can get high on your own supply, it's otherworldly, it's like, you can feel the change that's happening in the body. And like I'm with you, I've experienced the tetany, the like out of body, the like deaths and rebirths, the complete like reliving and reconciling certain experiences in my life. And all of that is beautiful. And it is just one portion of the spectrum of experiences that we can come into when we come into a deeper relationship with our breath. And that this idea that bigger is better. And I really feel like I, for many seasons in my life, really bought into that more is more. And as I've journeyed and like refined my own practice and kind of cleaned up my intention and my connection to it, it has become more subtle, more rich. It has become deeper. And I feel that sense of oneness when I sit with my breath. I come into it with an openness and a willingness to commune with the divine, to feed my human, to receive the wisdom of my soul versus needing to get anything specific from it. There's this like kind of fine line or quality around like showing up with to get something versus opening to receive what is here, or what is available for us in any given moment. And so I feel like my own journey into that has been a deep softening, and like there is more, and of course there's more, and just because there's more doesn't mean it's not enough. And so what I've found to be the most one of the most powerful aspects of a relationship with the breath is that it gets to be complementary medicine. Whatever it is that is most alive within our system, we can offer the complement to that to bring us home to this sense of wholeness, this harmony within our system. So if I'm really activated, if I'm really in a season of being flat out, then I get to come in and fully nourish my system back to wholeness, back to home. And if I'm in a season where I desire more fire, where I desire to like spark some momentum and really go for it, then I can add that element to my life through the connection with my breath as well. So on a physiological level, why this happens and why we can experience and see such deep change within our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body. I mean, they're all connected, our spiritual connection is because we are working with our raw, vital life force energy. With every breath, we are calling in life. We are calling in and we are lifting the prayer to feel more alive. And so as we open up to receive, and we're speaking about conscious connected breath work in this context, but there is a whole spectrum of breath practices and experiences that we can explore and go into depending on, again, what the moment is asking of us and being really true to that. Because conscious connected isn't always the medicine of the moment. It isn't always the experience for everyone. And what makes it so powerful is that when we connect our breath in that way, we create this beautiful electromagnetic current. We are opening up to receive a deeper breath, to shift our breath pattern, to open up to create this electromagnetic current that is flowing through our system at a high vibrational frequency. And so when we're doing that, when we're experiencing that, we are going to experience those lower density frequencies, those pockets of stored energy within our body begin to awaken. So we have this unique breath pattern that is based on our lived experience as a human, and I feel like breath is a relationship with our breath is our invitation to refining our human experience, to I say this like get better at being human and being here. And when we experience something, when we're deeply impacted by something, our system mobilizes. We are perfection by design. And so we are ready to respond to it in whatever way we need to. Oftentimes, we have mobilized excess energy, and we don't necessarily discharge all of that excess energy that's been created and mobilized within our system. And so then it in essence gets stored and it changes the density and the frequency of our cellular landscape. And so we see and witness and experience these pockets of lower density, or sorry, greater density, lower vibrational frequency pockets in our body, which show up and translate as tension, disease, or injury in the body. And when we invite this high vibrational frequency, this current through our body, we begin to awaken that. We begin to touch into the spaces and places that have been not functioning in their optimal state, that we have experienced challenges with, and we are invited into the opportunity to discharge the excess energy, essentially to feel our way through an incomplete pattern within our system. And so this is where we can experience that our relationship with deepening our breath is going to also spark a relationship with deepening feeling. And so we are going to feel a lot as we let ourselves. We are going to awaken things that we potentially haven't felt in a long time. And as we allow ourselves, without even needing to attach or know the story behind it, as we allow ourselves to experience, to process, to discharge that excess energy, it then frees the cells to return to a more vital nature. They have now a higher degree of spaciousness to be able to operate, to communicate, and to function and express in the way that they were intended. So this is where we're actually going to see the change ripple through everything, where we see dis-ease start to change form, where we see injuries heal, where we see our heart and our those things that have touched us deeply, they start to resolve within our system so we aren't as activated by them, so that we can then forge new pathways from a an expanded awareness and a state of response versus reactivity based on how we've lived it in the past.
Body of Work Foundations by Presence Media is starting soon. It's time to return to your foundations, your roots, your body, your essence, and your truth, and build a body of work that changes the world from the inside out. Body of Work Foundations is a culmination of my nearly 20 years in the online space, supporting hundreds, if not thousands, of successful feminine leaders and descending into a body-based way of being in business. Don't be fooled by the word foundations. This is not a business 101 or basic business program. This program will challenge the most fundamental aspects of you. It'll bring you to your knees, sober you to what is, and require you to face all your worldly fears. It'll ask you to stand in your power and meet resistance and discomfort as your physical reality shifts around you, creating space for your new body of work to emerge. It will require difficult decisions and hard conversations. For this reason, we have brought in a support network of teachers, some of the best somatic practitioners and energetic workers of our time, to guide you back to your foundations, the roots of who you are and why you are here. If you're ready to build your body of work from a rooted place of truth, get on the waitlist for Body of Work Foundations and receive exclusive pricing for when it launches later in June. This program is self-paced and includes 7 core teachings and dozens of supplementary teachings and practices to descend you into your most pristine and potent body of work. All the details are in the show notes.
See, I just needed you at dinner last night to explain this to my friend. I mean, it's just like, oh, just receiving what you just said. Like everybody, if you have not tried breath work, now is the time. And this is not just a new age thing, right? Breathwork is very trending right now in a lot of spiritual communities, and it's seeping into more of the mainstream, but this is ancient. This is breath. This is the most foundational, fundamental aspect of us. This is our life force. This is our Shakti. This is, the most ancient foundational part of humans. And now we're remembering this, and we are, I feel like the breath has come back at such an important time of in our humanity's awakening. It's a time where, it's really necessary for us to inhabit our bodies, to be in our power, to have the capacity to respond powerfully to what is, what we're here for, our soul's missions. And I'd love to talk now a little bit about, leadership, feminine leadership, those who are here to who know they're here for a reason, and how breath work can really support them. You touched on your own experience when you discovered breath work, as you weren't really here before, or it really helped kind of anchor you into your body and in the moment. And that's really my experience of when I discovered breath work too. I was very in my head, a lot of creative energy, a lot of like higher chakra activation and energy, and but I did not have that deep rooted connection to my body, to the present moment, and the richness of an embodied life. And so, can you speak now to the journey of descent for a woman, and specifically a leader, and how those of us that are here to do big things in this world, and whether that is like just fucking parenting and like being the most beautiful epic mom and wife or partner, but why that journey of descent is important, and what the difference is between kind of living outside of your body or on the surface and living like descended deep into your body and your roots.
Yeah, well, I feel like you've touched on this, is that like there is this connection and there is this reflection in how we show up in and how we tend to our inner world is reflected in our outer world. And I mean, this is also the truth of like we can see this in our breath pattern, is how we breathe reflects how we live. And so we get to, as humans, we have free will, we have choice, we get to choose. And so we can choose to live our life on the surface. We can choose to let the breath be an automatic function. And we know as leaders, as women, we know that there is more and there is deeper for us. I mean, we are living in a fucking miracle. The body of a woman and just the ability to create however we choose to use that creative energy is it's truly miraculous. I mean, we are a and as we connect with the breath, we are really coming into the deeper communion of that. We receive our inhale, the formless, and we are able to witness it take form and animate our form. And so we are on the edge in witness to creation. And so in and as a leader who knows and who desires to co-create their lived experience, to share their mission and their medicine, knowing that we have creation with us, available to us in every breath, is going to be such an incredible ally along the journey of landing deeper in the body. I mean, we have been gifted this human. We have been trusted with this human to do life with, to carry out our soul's journey, to have the opportunity to truly express our fullness and our wholeness, our soul's wholeness and fullness through our human. And so rather than transcending the human, rather than getting the human out of the way or feeling like it's a barrier to the experience. It is the experience. It is the holy. It is the sacred. And so the more that and the deeper that we land into that devotional relationship with our human, I feel the richer our entire lived experience is going to become. And then the ripples from that into our body of work and into the way that we can show up and in our truth. And it isn't even anything more than that. The deeper we are tethered into and speaking in and sharing in our truth, I mean, there's nothing more powerful than that. And we're living the remnants of it being dangerous and scary to be a fully powerful, fully embodied woman. But this is what we're being invited into is, can we be all of us? Can I land in all of me and live as all of me and continue to refine and continue to deepen into the truest version of myself in this moment. And so it does happen in building the foundation. It does happen in coming home to the body. It's like it gets to be as simple and complex as we want to make it. And it can be as simple as coming home into the the depths of our being, and building from a solid foundation changes everything. It gives us the opportunity to worry less about what it looks like, to worry less about the particulars and the details, and we get to enjoy the journey of who we are along the way. I mean, this is life, right? Life is lived, a series of moments strung together. And so it's bringing us into a deeper sense of presence and a deeper sense of truth as we live our legacy, as we truly receive everything that we came here for as a human.
Yeah. I love the saying, until it's true in the body, it will never be real in the world. And I don't know, I don't know where that came from, but I've been saying it a lot lately. And I think the breath is the tool, is the way to create physical, tangible, material results, manifestations in the real world, because it is taking something that is spirit, that is ethereal, and like, let's just say a vision. We talk about vision embodiment. It's like seeing what is not yet here, moving as that woman in the world, taking action as that woman, and creating, manifesting material things in the real
Yeah.
world. But that process only works, and this is why, like, my experience of descent, and like you said, part of the descent is it's feeling, it's beginning to feel again. And I was completely cut off from feeling, from a lot of sensation. And so for me, and I'd love to hear your experience of this, the process of vision embodiment, of becoming that woman that can hold presence, that can hold impact, that can hold this expanded version of life. It takes feeling and meeting all of the parts within us that are not there yet, that don't believe that's true. And this is what
Mm.
I find so powerful about breath, is not only does it unlock the sensation to be able to be like, oh wow, like there is like contraction in my chest, or there is like, yeah, like a pit of unease in my solar plexus. Like, it really allows us, it unlocks the sensation. All of that sensation is information, not information that we need to now like spin out in story, or like try to fix, but it's information that we get to be with, and breathe with, and in that experience. And how you even spoke about the process, like the circuitry of our breath, and how it does entrain the energy, or how it does like shift the frequency and the density of these blockages in our body. We get to release and come into this greater wholeness, so we actually can hold in our body the truth of the vision and the woman that we are here to be, and move as that woman. So that's kind of like how I would explain embodiment, and like my experience of unlocking sensation and then working with sensation through the process of alchemy. And breath is a alchemical tool. Essentially, it can shift energy from different densities and different forms. So I'd love like your take on this, and in terms of like vision embodiment and embodying, what we're here to do, and how that actually works, and how breath can be a real ally in that.
Yeah, well, I feel like it gets to be whatever we decide it is, right? How we come into it and the intention that we come into it with plays a huge role in the actual materialization of our vision and the actual living of our life, essentially. And I feel like a big piece of that is coming into deeper a deeper capacity to feel it all and to know that being a living, breathing, feeling being is the point, and that we are widening our felt sense experience, the spectrum of our felt sense experience, our ability to oscillate along that spectrum without attaching, without needing to hold on to anything. Because as you come into this deeper relationship with breath, you are going to come into a deeper relationship with energy and energy management and energy, like playing with energy and feeling energy and deciding what energy you desire to create with. And as we build our capacity to hold it all, as we build our capacity to feel it all, to experience it all, we are going to see those bigger things come to life for us. And so I really feel like it's less about coming into an intention with any practice to say, okay, like I want to create this. Because I feel like when we come in with like a really particular, I think it's great to have a vision. I think it's really great to have something that guides us. And I think a lot of times we can become quite limited by that because it is bound by what our mind can see, what our mind can know. And when we come deeper into the body, we are able to come deeper into the truth of what is actually here for us beyond what we've been able to envision, beyond what we've been able to see or see around us. And we're able to create and see it come to life. And so I think that it comes back to ourselves first, to, like, as you said, like, it's information that we can receive from our body. We get to make meaning out of anything that we want, but as a student of the body, we also get to listen deeply to the information that's being given, because it all connects into aspects of our life. And so if I am a leader and I have this beautiful vision that I want to see come to life, yet I don't see the how. I don't yet feel the clarity on my next move or my path forward. It gets to be as easy as coming home to being with the moment and listening to the inspiration of the moment. Like, what is the next step? And as we deepen our relationship with breath and as we process through these bigger physical blocks that we've been experiencing, that both you and I have talked about when we first began our relationship with conscious breath, is we process through and we do a lot of the heavy lifting initially. And then we are clear. Every time we show up to breathe, we are detoxifying, we are clearing our body, our vessel, but we are continuously clearing our channel to be that pristine, like, to be open and to be that pure channel of communication, of wisdom, of connection to the truth of the next step. And so as we tend to our human and through our relationship to the breath being the bridge between our human and our soul and spirit, we are going to build our human, our body's capacity to hold these bigger visions because we have space to hold them. We've reconciled the limiting patterns and beliefs that we have previously operated by to create space to forge new pathways, to, like, trailblaze new ground. And as we've got more space, we also then will see a natural deepening of our capacity to hold. And it isn't about our capacity to remain calm or our capacity to remain grounded. It's about our capacity to oscillate between the activated and relaxed state of our system, between the different branches of our nervous system, the different aspects of our beingness, so that we can respond with awareness. We can respond with rootedness to what the moment is calling of us. Sometimes we need to be really mobilized, and sometimes we need to show up a little bit more rooted and clear. But as we continue to clear the way and create our own version of the connection that we have with, whether it's divinity, God, Mother Nature, the universe, source, our highest self, whatever we've created the connection with, when we create the space, when we've shifted the frequency, the vibrational landscape of our inner being, we are available for connection with different things. We become in resonance with different things. And I feel like that's where we start to see us coming together with the things that we hold in our vision, the things that we hold in our heart. I've heard this years ago, and it was like, if, like, what you desire also desires you. And so if it's alive in us as a desire, our vision is alive with us, we know, and we're being asked to show up to this mission, then as we shift and change our vibrational landscape, we are going to connect with that. We can't miss it. We are going to be in resonance with it. And yeah, well, I feel like we'll also continuously witness it shift and change because we are so dynamic. We get there and we think, okay, this wasn't quite it, but I'm going to continue to stay connected. I'm going to continue to stay plugged in to this, like, infinite well of inspiration. And I'm going to continue to make the bold moves, take the inspired action to see it come to life. I feel like that's probably a big missing piece is like we have to move. We have to take the action. We can't just sit and receive the inspiration and trust that it's all going to come to life. Like we are asked to be co-creators. We are asked to come on the journey as willing and active participants in our own lives.
Mhm. Yeah, and this feels so relevant to our bodies of work, doesn't it? And specifically the type of women that we both work with. And having the capacity, like you said, to respond to the moment in the highest way possible, whatever that is requiring of us, whether it is like a bit of fire, a bit of like movement, or whether that is some rest and nourishment. It's being aware in the present moment what is required and being able to respond in that way instead of allowing, like having a business and a body of work is highly triggering for most people, right? We're essentially bearing our souls, in the online space anyways, to the world, sharing our truth. And there's so much that can be triggering in that. You launch something and there's crickets. Instead of making that mean something about yourself, which we all, I'm sure, have done at some point, like what is the highest response to that? We have, as mothers, we're both mothers here, partners, businesses, like that can feel very overwhelming sometimes. And I know that I've had to question a lot around like my focus and am I taking on too much? Am I sacrificing? Like there's just so many ways we can be triggered by our body of work, right? And that's why I feel like breath work and really working with the breath to always come back to the truth of the moment is so foundational to being able to hold a body of work of scale and impact while being a rich, resourced, present woman. And that's a huge piece of why I've invited you to come in as a teacher of body of work, to share your breathwork practices, to support the women. And I know that that's a big part of why you created the Descent Collective, like your community where you support women in working with the breath to come into deeper layers of who they truly are. So can you talk a little bit more about the Descent Collective, about how you work with women and how the breath can really support these women with their bodies of work?
Yeah, thank you. It feels like even conversations about the breath, they're these portals of remembrance. And I feel like that is the gift that we have available for us is we again get to make it as complex or as simple as we desire, but coming home again and again to the power that we are, not even that we have, of course, and that we just are. And everything hits different. Everything lands different when we are tethered to that remembrance, when we are living that knowing in our bones. And so this space that I've created is out of that deep desire to continue to plug into the well of remembrance that is here for us through our own personal relationship and connection to all that is, to the oneness, to, divine, and also to walk it in the collective and with the collective so that we so we can so deeply remember through our own experience, and we don't have to experience everything to remember. We can remember from hearing a story. We can remember from witnessing another. We can remember just being in shared space with another and how we either come into resonance or contrast. And so my desire with this space is to open up those those portals for women, for leaders, for curious explorers to come home to themselves, to come into deeper layers of truth, of expression so that as we live our legacies, as we serve the missions that we've been gifted, that we feel regenerated by them, we feel nourished by them, we feel in our power, and we ripple out. We show up in our relationships that way. We show up in a relationship with our bodies that way. We teach our children by who we are instead of what we're saying, and they're able to remember through our remembrance. And so we dive into weekly devotional journeys. We also have a community hub now where this is, I feel like, going to be a really rich opportunity to connect and share questions, receive personalized feedback, to be able to, again, learn and remember together.
Yeah, because I feel like it's so much more potent in community, isn't it? Like we can do all of this solo, right? We can work with the breath, we can, have our visions, we can work on our business, we can do it all by ourselves, but there's just something so fucking potent about being seen and held and witnessed in a community space. And I feel like that this is what is so powerful about the Descent Collective. It is, yes, it's claiming the holiness of your body, of your breath, of your mission, and just the alchemy of the space. Obviously having you facilitating is freaking gold standard, but just the alchemy of the space and the sisterhood is such an important piece and such an accelerator in my experience of personal transformation. I know in my own journey, having sisterhood, having that community of support has been not only has supported in the acceleration of my personal evolution, like it is the richness of it. It is what I cherish the most about my experience is the depth of my relationships and the people around me. And I feel like that's really what you're creating within the Descent Collective. And it's just such a beautiful portal for anybody that's really invested in doing the work and coming back into their holiness and, the truth of who they really are. So we'll put links in the show notes, and definitely check Carmen out and her work. And of course, she's a featured teacher inside Bodywork Foundations. Is there anything you want to leave everybody with as we wrap up this conversation?
Hmm.
Or should I offer you a question? One of my favorites.
Whatever you feel, I'm open.
Okay. What's turning you on, babe, right now? What's turning you on most about your life, your business, your relationship? Like take it however you want. What's really turning you on in this season?
Hmm. I feel like in this season of life, I've come into a deeper sense of presence that has actually blown me away. I have come home to less about um, looking and learning from the outside and coming into the the purest, the holiest, most full version of me. And that is what's really lighting me up because I'm seeing it. I'm seeing a different level of presence when I'm with my son and my ability to be fully here. I feel like before I was quite fragmented and, having a business and doing all of the things, I would hold all of the things within me. And I still am all of the things, but I'm able to hold a different fullness with each. In my relationship with my husband right now, we are really prioritizing our marriage after young children, after a challenging season. And so coming into reconnection and learning each other as we are in this moment, learning myself as I am in this moment. And it's been really fun to essentially meet me for the first time. meet, us for the first time. And this, I feel, is rippling into everything. It's rippling into how I'm showing up in service to my mission and my purpose on this planet. And so it's finding the beauty in the everyday moments. I feel like, and again, like things can feel so grand and so big. And where I experience the most joy is in the small everyday moments that feel extraordinary. And so this has been probably the greatest gift that my relationship with my breath has offered me, and it's bringing me the most joy at this in the season of my life, is to truly appreciate, to feel the fullness, and to understand that this is the point. This is life. This is why I'm here. This is why we're here, to experience ourselves, to experience each other. And so that is what I have come home to again and again in the connection to my breath. But that's also what it is continuing to bring to life in my everyday in this season. So I feel super fucking turned on by life. I feel super grateful for those deeply satiating breaths, the remembrance that it sparks for me that I chose to be here. And I get to choose how I choose to be here. And so, really working with that choice and continuously coming home to uh, the truth for me. So, it's been a season of depth. It's been like diving off and free falling, and it's been so fucking rich. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful to walk it, with dear sisters like yourself. And so that's what's most alive and most meaningful in my life right now, is to be in love with the everyday moments.
Yeah, you transmit that and embody that so well. And I can say that because I know you very well. So thank you so much for all that you are and all that you be and all that you offer. And just encouraging everybody, if you feel resonance with this conversation, if you feel curious about building your relationship, descending into your relationship with the breath, check out Carmen's body of work. Again, we will link everything in the show notes. And yeah, thank you so much. And we will see you soon. We are going away for the weekend, so we will see you very soon. And yeah, thank you
Uh,
everybody for tuning in to today's episode.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure and an honor. And I just love you. I thank you. I am so grateful.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode, and thanks so much to another amazing guest. If you love this episode, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. We are committed to producing weekly episodes to turn you on and tune up the volume of your voice and impact in the world. I would love to stay connected. You can come and follow me over on Instagram at The Grounded Visionary. Or if you're interested in learning more about the services we provide at Presence Media, check us out at www.presencemedia.co. See you next week.